We're working on the MECALAC TA3sh. It's a rental from Battlefield. So the this machine started giving us trouble. It wouldn't start, and we checked pretty well everything. It's an intermittent starting problem issue, whatever you want to call it. The machine is a MECALAC, but it's, I think, TA3sh bought out MECALAC. TA3sh is big. So Kubota engine. I think a lot of machines in the world are like this now. They have different components from different manufacturers, and it's just kind of assembled into one. The most incredible part of this whole machine is the actual transmission on this, which is in here. I mean, this thing just about as far as wheeled machines, rubber tired machines, I think this is probably the one machine I've been on that absolutely can never ever seem to be able to get stuck. And underneath here, we checked a whole bunch of I think that's locked on now. And I need a key for that. Yeah, I had that out. It was just sitting in there last week. There's a master switch right there, shut off switch. That's not the problem. We checked this fuse, we checked the relay here, we unplugged it, it still started and shut off without that relay. I don't know what that relay must be, something to do with the transmission, I bet, because there's no lights on this. There's one roof flasher, and then there's a fuse down underneath the floor. It looks like it's been added to the machine. It doesn't look original. You can kind of see it in there, that red wire right there, center of the screen. It's not that, because we pulled that fuse right out, and when it was working, it did start with the key, but then, you know, a while later it wouldn't. So we thought it must be the ignition switch right here where the key goes in. So they put a new device in here a week ago about, and last week it worked for a few times, and then the third or fourth time I started it that day, it went back to doing the same thing again, not starting. So I went and I was using a wire to jump start it. So you can jump start, not jump start, but hot wire. You can hot wire machines today, modern machines that are made today, but there's a catch. You got to have the key, because the fuel pump and the shut off solenoid, you can hear a click, and you can hear that little electric motor running. There's the fuel pump right there. And there's a shut-off solenoid on the engine somewhere, on the probably on the injector pump. Go over the other side. You can probably see it. I haven't looked for it, but where is it? Must be it down there. I don't know. So there's a manual shut-off on these diesel tractors too. It's funny, that's a fuel pump right there, and it's kind of not being used. It's got little plugs on it. So I guess this thing had a mechanical fuel pump. I don't see the shut-off solenoid, but it's in there somewhere. It's probably down deep inside somewhere. Pretty simple machine, built like a tank though. So what I've been doing is I got my trusty piece of copper wire here, and we just take this, I got it bent just so it fits in there perfectly. Without the key on, it will not, it'll turn the engine over, but it won't start. So we shove that in there, right there. Very hard to see in there. That hydraulic hose is right in the way. And then the other end of this wire, I stick it on this alternator terminal. So let's see if it'll start. That's how we've been starting it for about 2 weeks now. I was using a short piece of wire from that. You can see that little plug right there. It's just sitting there, that old white plug. So I was connecting that little blade to this. That's the starter wire down there, that bolt. You can see it there. It's supposed to be covered by this rubber boot. But what happened was, I accidentally, it's so hard to see in there with that hose in the way, that I touched the body of the starter and I vaporized the wire that I was using and burnt my finger 2 weeks ago. Still healing. So this is a better option up here. Your chances of grounding it are a lot less, because you can actually shove the wire in on an angle there. But that's just one of the ways to hotwire a vehicle, a modern vehicle. But without that key and the shutoff solenoid and the pump running, you can't really get it going. So I guess you could manually run a wire from that pump to the battery, and then the solenoid for shutting it off, you'd have to find that. I don't know where it is. You'd have to find it though. It's probably hidden in there, because this is an easy way to steal a machine. I see wires going down in there. Where would it be? That's the only part of the whole equation I don't know, but you could actually hotwire it. We overrode the seat switch and put that in there because we thought it might be that. The seat switch being defective will affect the it won't start. So there's a safety device. If you're not sitting on the machine, it won't start. But it wasn't that. And there should be a switch for the handbrake too, but it beeps if the handbrake is on and you put it in gear, but it does not. The starter was, when it did work, was working with the handbrake on or off. It didn't matter. So but most modern machines, if the handbrake is not turned on, you can't start them. But just a little bit of info on the MECALAC. It's a cement buggy, so we're using it to move topsoil, fill clay, rock, sand, anything but cement. We haven't used it once for moving cement, but yeah, it's a 2.5 yard concrete power buggy, and it's built like a tank. If you're thinking about buying a tough machine to move material off-road, this is the one. But the next one is a track machine. It can go anywhere, probably more places than this can go, but this doesn't seem to get stuck with the tires and everything. So four-wheel drive, it articulates in the middle. It doesn't turn very sharp, which I think there's a reason for it, because if it did turn sharp, it'd probably flip right over with the cement in it. So that might be why it doesn't turn too sharp. But there you go, a little bit about the MECALAC TA3sh. Thanks for watching.